I'm a really big Beach Boys fan, and as I walk around here during the day, I'm always reminded of Surfer Girl, like Brian Wilson. You know, when they wrote and released that, was it 64, I think, maybe 63, and I'm thinking of in my mind, I'm juxtaposing what he was seeing and what he was thinking about with what would be today's modern surfer girl. Like, if he could, his heart would stop. His heart would fucking stop. And only because of the, you know, the lack of clothing thing. Usually the surfing girls carry their surfboards in their head because they don't have the upper body strength that men do to be able to carry it like under their arm. Because women don't generally have the upper body strength that men do. I know you're not allowed to say that kind of shit or imply in any way that there's any differences between the sex. It's just the madness we live in now, like the clown world we live in. But they have to carry, so they carry them on their heads, you know. Now, I think because when you're surfing, you don't want to have loose clothing on, so you don't get pulled down or have clothing yanked off. So they tend to wear very, very tight fitting bikinis or outfits, and most of them have barely any clothes on at all. The G-string's mandatory. Well, there's two looks. You get the rare bodysuit, you don't see that too often. Most of the time, it's just a bikini that has so little cloth to it, it's like a bikini in name only. And that, I'm imagining, is so it makes it easier when you're out there, you know, trying to surf. And they're all very toned, you know. A lot of them have like that gymnast body, like the heavier thighs. Really cool, really nice, you know, symmetry, really good, aesthetically pleasing. I gotta be careful because this will be only the second video of mine my wife ever watches. The first one I was talking about something similar. She only watches my shit when I talk about stuff like this. But yeah, so anyway, they don't have a lot of clothes. They put them on their heads, and it's pretty, you know, it's pretty crazy. Like, it definitely gets your attention. And when I see them, I hear that song in my head. And I just think of like that early 60s Disney sort of aesthetic, women with, you know, showing their ankles maybe is risque, you know. Although Brian, you know, he was a little bit more, you know, he wasn't a normie by any stretch of the imagination. Unfortunately, they still got him on tour. All right, he's off tour now, but they had him on tour, propping him up at the front of the stage in a piano. You know, Victoria's Secrets, right? Used to be like, you know what it used to be. This is current day Victoria's Secrets. Overweight one and very, very black woman. Here's the thing, right? And I've talked about this before, but it's fun to talk about anyway. They like to change the definitions of things. What they're trying to do is they want to create a world that they want for themselves, and they want to create that world just to better control you. And one of the ways they do that is by changing the meanings of things. Sometimes they'll change the complete definition of a word, and we've seen that happen over the Cove thing. They changed the meaning of vax. They changed the definition of it from what it used to be. When it first rolled out, they were talking about Cove was called Corona. But a glance in the direction of the etymology of that word and the way it is used, and the fact that it was already in medical books for many years as a word for a cold, they had to change that up. And there's something in maybe someone more who understands this stuff more. They had to have something with the V in it, the cove, to make it sharp. It's one of these black magic things when they put these word spells together, and in this case it's a word spell in service of a larger like event spell, you know, being the event that happened. There's all these little things they have that are like, you know, they'll use words, numbers, certain letters that make up components of the spell. And the letter B is something. I don't know what it is, but I remember reading something about it or picking up something at some point. That's pretty good, huh? That's informative. Yeah, I remember picking up something at some point, so fucking settled science, bro. But yeah, they want to change the meaning of things. And so what they're trying to do in the case of that place, and it's been happening there for a while, and it's not just them, it's a lot of other places where they use models or really any kind of modeling. It's like the idea is changing beauty standards. Like, and what they're trying to do is they're trying to like, I mean, they replace what we used to see at Victoria's Secrets with stuff like that. And it doesn't have anything to do with the race thing. It has to do with a beauty thing, like an aesthetic thing. You know, that woman on the poster I was showing there she's overweight. I mean, that's not ideally, that's not a good body type. It's not attractive to men. Like, being one or kind of one, I can tell you usually that's not a big turn on. You know, usually you'd be looking at her friend there, the very, very dark woman. See, it can't just be a regular black woman. It has to be like Nairobi night, you know. And in cultures too, like in Asian culture, this is, and I think to some degree it is in African cultures too, where the darker you are, the less aesthetically pleasing it is to them. Japanese especially, they walk around here with umbrellas. They don't want tan skin, they don't want dark skin. And Korea is the same way, because the implication is that if you have dark skin, you're working outside, which means you're part of a slave class or a working class. So darker skin isn't aesthetically what they like. And I think for Africans it goes that way too, because I see a lot of that in the African American culture, of people like clowning on each other because they're darker. So they have two women there that are traditionally not considered hot, or by society standards, or by the previous standards set by Victoria's Secrets. Now, Victoria's Secrets models really, I mean, maybe I'm gay, but they never really did anything for me. They seem too out there. Like, I need something that looks like it has some life to it, to be into it, attracted to it, and they just look like, you know, skinny plastic dolls. So I didn't think they had a great thing anyway, but I could understand how that would be a pleasing aesthetic to people. No one likes that kind of stuff, what they're putting up there now. And it's not just that one poster, it's, you know, it's everything. And it's not just Victoria's Secrets, it's every place. They're trying to say, no, this is beautiful. This is beautiful, Graham. Overweight women and really dark Nubian princesses. If you don't think so, maybe you're the bigot. That's what they're trying to push. The problem is, right, we have eyes and we live in this world. And you don't have to advocate for truth in this situation. Like, if that was a beauty aesthetic that was pleasing to a large percentage, or the larger percentage of people, it would just be there and it wouldn't be an issue. You know, you wouldn't have to be trying to make this concerted push with all this background to it to try to push it forward, because it would just be. You know, truth is it's just evident. It's just there. You know, this glass is full of water. This glass is not full of water. What they're trying to do is take the glass that has no water in it and saying, this is a full glass of water. And if you don't think it's a full glass of water, then the problem is you. And they're just doing that with everything. I mean, yes, it's It's part of a lot of things. It's part of the upside down world thing, the satanic inversion, the black is white, white is black, up is down, down is fucking up. It's leaked into everything. But it's just funny when you see it in like a little section, when you see a microcosm of it, posters in a store. And I've gone over this before. Like I've done a couple of videos where I walked around trying to find white people in advertising. You won't. There's no one down there. They don't have it. Not that like that was ever a thing like that anyone was concerned about. It just was. It was how it is because that was the majority of the population. It only becomes a thing that sticks out and you talk about when you do something unnatural. You know, unless everything else is unnatural. And therein is where we have the shit quilt, which is how the society is made up of all these blocks of tied together bullshit. But in order for the shit quilt to work, it's all got to be bullshit. None of it can be true. Otherwise, it would stick out. You know, and not stick out in a way, like it would stick out in a way like, wow, why does that look so different? Why does that square look so different? Oh, wait, that square is clean. Oh, wow, that square has no shit. Oh, all this quilt has shit on it except for this. It would be like that, but it'd be more extreme than that. It would be like there would be a hole in the quilt. Like that's how jarring it would be. So everything in this system here that they have has to be made up bullshit. I almost get caught in that trap. I think it was last night I was doing a video about the PayPal thing. And I got to one point that, you know, thankfully pretty early on where I realized what the fuck I was saying. You know, it's talking about how people slap back at PayPal for planning to propose that $2,500 fine for basically wrongthink as determined by them. And as I was going on about it, droning on about it, I was like, yeah, man, it's a good thing that, you know, Elon Musk chimed in because... And it's like, wait a minute, dude, what the fuck? Get a hold of yourself. What are you talking about? You know, I forget too. You know, I forget sometimes too that none of it's real. It's all theater. Because, I mean, I spent like many years here, you know. I only really started, I mean, I'm still coming out of it. Like I was saying last night, I'm not out of the Matrix yet. I can still, like I'm halfway out the window. You know, my head's out. My left arm and leg is out, but I still got an arm and leg in there. So I can kind of see what's going on in both worlds, and I get tricked into the Matrix again sometimes. You know, like it's just my default setting, because I've been programmed that way and mind controlled that way, and under the influence of spells of lesser magic for most of my life. So it takes a little while to get away from some of this stuff. But yeah, the changing definitions of things, it doesn't really work. I mean, for someone, it would have to, who would say like, oh yeah, that's a full glass of water when it's empty? How do they get people to do that? Like, I don't know if you can. Some things they can pass off, some things they can get by, right? Some things they can get over on you. But that's kind of tough. Like, this is beautiful. It's like, no, I mean, you know, I'm sure they're lovely ladies, and you know, I'm not being a judgy prick. You know, I'm no prize myself, but that's not, that ain't good looking. You know, that's like, and those are actually good looking ones compared to some of the other stuff they have on there. Some of the more egregious stuff, like not just overweight women, like fat, straight up fat, like big. You know, I was walking home one day and I was with someone, I think it might have been my wife. I stopped over there and I just happened to hone in on Victoria's Secrets because it's at the corner, you know, so it's right, I'm always where I cross the street or in the area. So my eyes always go to it. And there was one poster up and I'm like, what does this poster look like? A Victoria's Secret's advertising poster. And it looked like a video store in like a diverse neighborhood. Like it looked like an X-rated video store, like the ad for it. Just all these large, sassy women. It looked like one of those cheap like ghetto magazines, you know, like big titties or something, and it looked just like that, you know. It's just jarring. It's funny, you know. It's funny because you know it's not true, you know. How do you get that over on someone? How do you say, like, yeah, this is beautiful? Like, no one, you know, if you offered, well, I was going to say, if you offered a date to date these women or people, a lot of guys would probably take it. What the fuck am I talking about? But it's not the beauty standard because it's not beautiful. That's the problem. That's the problem. And they know that they can never get you to think that, right? Because how do you do that? So I think the next move is to be able to take control of your thoughts, of the domain of your mind. That's next. I mean, that's what they want to do. That's what they'd like to do. I don't think it's gonna work out for them. But yeah, it's just funny. That's just that's just a small example of, you know, a much larger thing. So. I get talking and this thing fucking blows out. I gotta keep it lit though because it keeps people away from me. Don't blame the teacher, blame the school.